Daf Yomi Tractate, Bava Batra, page 28a, top of the page, starting a new chapter, new perek, the third chapter of Bava Batra, called Cheskas Habatim, which can be translated as presumptive ownership of houses. He was called a chazaka, which is like an established ownership of something. The Mishnah says, with regard to presumptive ownership of houses and of pits, and of ditches and of caves, which are used to collect water, and of dovecotes, and of bathhouses, and of olive presses, and of irrigated fields, which must be watered by people, and of slaves, and all similar property that constantly, in other words, throughout the year generates profits. Their presumptive ownership is established by working and profiting from them for a duration of 3 years from day to day. If the one in possession of the property can prove that he worked and profited from it for the previous 3 full years, there is a presumption that it belongs to him and would remain in his possession if another were to claim that the property belonged to him or to his ancestors. With regard to a non-irrigated field, one that is watered by rain, in which produce grows during certain seasons of the year, its presumption of ownership is established in 3 years, but they are not from day to day, since the fields are not worked and harvested continually throughout the 3 year period. Rabbi Yishmael says 3 months of possession in the first year, 3 months of possession in the last year, and 12 months of possession in the middle, which are 18 months, suffice to establish the presumption of ownership with regard to a non-irrigated field. Rabbi Akiva says a month of possession in the first year and a month of possession in the last year, and 12 months of possession in the middle, which are 14 months, suffice to establish the presumption of ownership with regard to a non-irrigated field. Rabbi Shmuel said, in what case is this statement that 18 months are required for a non-irrigated field said? Is it said with regard to a white field? In other words, a grain field? What is that? I thought like virgin olive oil, That's kind of like yeah, sure, that's what you meant. No. Grain, I mean, the word, I'm behind. Grain field, with regard to a field of trees, once he gathered his produce and he harvested his olives. Yeah, virgin olive oil, there we go. Yeah, virgin olive oil. And grain is like a G, it's like a, G-I-N-A-I-N, grain, olives. Yeah, that's where it came from. And then the gathered figs. These 3 harvests are equivalent for 3 years. Since he harvested 3 types of produce, this is equivalent to having possessed the field for 3 years. Okay, Gemara, the Talmud says on Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, I heard from those who travel to Usha to study with the sages that they would say, from where is it derived that presumptive ownership is established in 3 years? From the forewarned ox. Just as in the case of a forewarned ox, once it has intentionally gored 3 gorings, it left the presumptive status of an innocuous ox and is established as having the presumptive status of a forewarned ox. Here too, once he has worked and profited from the land for 3 years, the land left the possession of the seller, and it is established as being in the possession of the buyer. The Gemara questions this comparison. If so, you say that just with forewarned ox, the owner is not liable to pay full damages until the fourth goring. Here too, the land should not be established as being in his possession until the fourth year. The Gemara rejects this question. How can these cases be compared? There were once it has gored 3 times, it is forewarned.